to begin with you. The Ukraine visit comes at a crucial moment in the war as Joe Biden looks to keep allies unified in their support for Ukraine as the war is expected to perhaps intensify with both sides preparing for spring offensive. How is Russia viewing this? Because, Zelensky is also sending a message that he is able to unite the biggest superpower in the world on his side.
I think there's no doubt that that message is received. It is tremendously important that the United States shows this kind of solidarity with Ukraine at this stage of the war. It is, behind the scenes, perhaps a little more troubled. Joe Biden himself has a lot of, sea of political woes at home, and desperately bad approval ratings, and even a majority of Democrats don't think he should run again. So he's got reasons to make a trip like this, to show the flag, to show himself in that active role. And there is maybe softening support in Europe and in the United States for this blank check that the United States in particular has been giving to Ukraine. But at the end of the day, this visit is quite a tremendous boost for the Ukrainians, and probably for the idea of solidarity with Ukraine in the wider West.
I can see Oleksiy as well joining us. He's a Ukrainian MP joining me from Kyiv. It did come as a surprise to the entire world. But what about Ukraine? Was Zelensky and his team, all of you, aware that U.S. President will be taking a train ride to come all the way to Kyiv?
Definitely, Ukrainian government knew it before, and not just, wow, Biden came. It's not like this. We invited President of the United States to Ukraine, and we were waiting for him. And when he decided that he can come, we are absolutely happy that he did it. Because now it's a great moment for this. Because these days, in the imagination of Putin, was preparation for a military parade in Kiev, which he was going to take in 3 days 1 year ago. And this day, he should show to the whole world his strength and how he's a superpower and everything else. But in reality, this day he is absolutely humiliated. He is just a war criminal and terrorist, and he failed completely in Ukraine. Russia is not superpower anymore, absolutely. And at this day, there is a president of nuclear state in Kiev, but it's not Putin, it's Biden.
Yes,
so
and
God
Kiev
bless
is
America,
standing.
and thanks to President Biden.
Yes, I can see that hat as well of yours. But is there a sense that perhaps this visit could have happened earlier? Because, there have been visits by French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor has visited Kyiv, Canadian Prime Minister, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, and former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. All of them have paid the visit already.
It's great that they visited already. Several days ago, I met with President Macron, with Rishi Sunak, and I thank them personally for all their support for Ukraine. But that's a great moment to come and for President Biden, and it's historical. It's for the first time in modern U.S. history that American president is coming abroad to the war zone, which is not controlled by American forces. So that is great. That is a very strong signal to, first of all, to Putin, that he should finish this war, get out from Ukraine, that he will never win this war. And the best he can do just to stop it now, not killing more tens of thousands of Russian people, also Russian people, but definitely for us, the most important is Ukraine. So that is, we don't have feeling that he should come earlier. He came now, and that's absolutely great.
Yes. Mr. Dark, the point being made by Oleksiy is very well taken, that this is for the first time that a U.S. president is visiting a war-torn nation, the one where U.S. doesn't really have a direct stake.
Absolutely. And don't forget that was also a hard way. There are no flights to Ukraine.
Yes.
So that was a very long way from the United States to get to Kiev. It was a flight to Poland, than a train for many hours to Kiev. It's a hard and quite dangerous trip which President of the United States made.
Okay.
Absolutely having in mind to show the solidarity with the Ukrainian people, show that there is no any fatigue of the West on which Russia hopes that it will happen. It will never happen.
Okay. Calvin Dark, this question certainly that, it's coming at a time when Joe Biden's own ratings are that he is a tired president, that he should perhaps take a rest and not go in for another tenure or fight for another tenure. The question then is that he did not really make any substantial promise. Of course, Zelensky wanted some promise in terms of weapon support, bigger weapon support, and he wanted some speed up in delivery of pledged weapon systems. That hasn't happened. Why do you think, though Joe Biden talked about $500 million, he did not make any new commitments?
Well, I think that we can't underestimate the importance of the commitments he did make. I like to think of it as he came to Ukraine with two sets of weapons. The first set was the $500 million in military equipment that has been desperately needed. But the other set of weapons was this very public show of support by the United States. And the reason that's so valuable is one of the things I think Putin was considering is that there would be fatigue, that if a year ago, he would have thought the U.S. and the West would not have been continually supporting Ukraine. So as we approach the one-year anniversary this week of Russia's illegal invasion into Ukraine, Joe Biden probably gave them the most valuable thing that he could, and that was to show that our support from the U.S. is unwavering. So I think now, of course, there are other weapon systems and other things that Zelensky wants, and I think that if the U.S. president and Congress deem it appropriate, then maybe we'll do that. But I don't think we should underestimate the power of the two sets of weapons he sent today to Ukraine.
I think that's very well read.